joining me now, and COULTER, author of the best-selling book Adios America, and from Washington GOP strategist Brad Blakeman, who worked in the George W. Bush administration. Now, Ann, he seems to be the Teflon Don. Can he continue to defy political gravity?
As long as he keeps talking about immigration, how many different ways can voters say, stop immigration? They've done this for 30 years. That's what the 2014 election was about. And as for, conservatives coming to Washington and then selling out the base, well, Rand Paul did. He was totally for Marco Rubio's amnesty. It wasn't until his constituents ganged up on him and yelled at him that he finally withdrew. But then he said, no, he really supports it. He refers to illegal aliens as undocumented citizens. If they want to undermine Trump, take his issue. Please take it, Republicans. But they won't. I've never seen something where it is the business interests and the rich against the voters so much. And the voters keep saying, we don't want any more immigration. That's why Trump is so popular. So pick it up, Republicans.
Brett, so I've heard Trump is toast. I've heard Don Voyage. I keep hearing these statements after Donald Trump says something that, frankly, even Republicans, even establishment Republicans are offended by, but yet his polling seems to at least hold in there. In some cases, it raises.
He's a very, very lucky person to date, but I don't think his luck can hold. And he's got to be more than a one-trick pony in immigration. Yeah, I agree with Ann. Republicans should take up that cause, but there's an awful lot that we know that Republican voters have on their mind, and a lot of it has to do with the economy and keeping America safe, and Donald Trump hasn't told us enough about that. But let me say this. In 2008, when we had an open seat for the presidency, less than 15% of registered Republicans participated. So you know what primaries and caucuses are all about? They're not about popularity contests. They're about moving people to the polls. And so far, Trump has existed on earned media without organization. That cannot last.
Why not? And can it last?
Well, could we take the two issues that Brad just mentions, the economy and national security? Okay, how about stop dumping 30 million poverty-stricken people on America to take low-wage jobs? Yeah, that's fantastic for Mark Zuckerman with all of his H-1B visas. It's great for businesses who get all the cheap labor. It's fantastic for the Democratic Party. You know who it's really bad for? Low-wage American workers, and they've had it. Have you seen the black teenage unemployment rate? Well, who's taking those jobs? Immigrants, both legal and illegal, are taking these jobs. All these alleged job gains, they're all going to immigrants. Study after study has shown that. Let's take national security. The one interesting moment of the debate, other than every time Donald Trump was speaking, was the fight between Chris Christie and Rand Paul about whether we're going to spy on Americans or need a warrant first. Well, here's an idea. Stop bringing in Americans like Mohammed Abdulaziz, who shot up Chattanooga, like the immigrants who bombed the Boston Marathon, like the one that caused Rand Paul to filibuster for 13 hours, American Anwar al-Awlaki. Don't make terrorist citizens through immigration, and we'll have a lot less of a national security problem.
And also, Brad, let me add this. There are a lot of people saying Donald Trump doesn't come with specifics. I've heard him talk about ISIS, how he would deal with ISIS. I heard him say he would put boots on the ground. Now, frankly, I think Donald Trump resonates with a lot of people. I would disagree with that policy, but nonetheless, it's a policy, and he's put it out there. He's also very clear on his trade policy. He says, fight China hard, fight Mexico hard. These are policy initiatives, yet no one seems to be hearing those.
No, these are statements. They're not policies. And here's the difference. Who is behind the curtain of Donald Trump? Who are the people he's going to rely on to bring to government? Who are the people he rely on now, the experts? He talks about experts he talked to. He doesn't give names. He doesn't give specifics. And here's the problem, Eric. If Donald Trump built a building the way he's building a presidential race, it'd be 100 stories tall and no windows and no elevators. He has to have the infrastructure as you would building a building and a foundation of building a campaign. A presidential campaign is one of the largest startup businesses in the world.
Well, I don't know what that means.
But Donald Trump doesn't have. You should know what it means, Ann. You need boots on the ground. I don't know what it means about the
building. No windows. I'm not really good on the metaphor issue, but I do know the people who.
There's nothing there in the infrastructure of his campaign.
Well, no, but let me
just call on me. Instead of pointing to me, please.
What is Brad talking about a building with no windows?
I have no idea, but you're absolutely right on the policies. I don't understand this weird objection. What's he going to do? what are the policies? It's just phrases. What, as opposed to I'm going to secure the border? But not with a fence, because fences don't work, and you can build a tunnel under the fence. No, he's giving specific policies. And as for who's going to be behind his campaign, I can tell you who won't be behind it. It won't be the Chamber of Commerce. It won't be Wall Street. It won't be Sheldon Adelson. It won't be the people buying these politicians. And the voters hate what they're buying. After the 2014 election, Republicans are just going to pretend that Dave Brat didn't happen, that that election was not about Obama's executive amnesty, and they get to town, they fund Obama's executive amnesty, and then give us a trade bill that the people hate. So, this is a Republican Party being run for the business interests in America, not for the people. This is why people are voting for Trump, and it doesn't matter what he says.
Brad, you have to admit that Ann is touching on something that is very, very obvious, that one of the reasons why people are flocking to Donald Trump is because he's not the candidate that can be bought. He doesn't have one or two big multi-million-dollar donors who say, this is my issue. Don't forget this is my issue when you're president.
That's true, and he struck a chord in America. I'll give him all that. But look, he can't be everything to all people. Presidents can't do that. Presidents have to exist by bringing good people to government who can help you. We don't know who his advisors are, number one. Number two is, in order to get people to come to the primaries, you have to have an army of volunteers. I know he's a self-funder. He's worth $10 billion. Where's the money he's putting into his campaign? So far, he's spent zero. Why? Because he exists on earned media. That can't continue.
And let me turn this very quickly. Can Donald Trump exist and win as an island? We know that the establishment doesn't like him. Rand Paul's going to come on later and explain to me why he's a fake, quote, fake conservative. He's an island of himself. Can he exist that way?
Well,
can he win that way?
More than an island when he's taking 30% in the polls. Yeah. I mean, this is really, the polls are meaningful here. Everyone keeps saying, oh, well, Herman Cain was ahead in the polls and Michelle Bachmann and Howard Dean. No. I've been looking that up. They were maybe briefly ahead in one straw poll someplace, or it was neck and neck with Romney, and everyone was so excited one of them would pull ahead for a week, 3 points ahead of Romney. This is incredible what Donald Trump is doing. He has an army behind him, and the fact that he's not controlled by the Chamber of Commerce, I think most people are thinking of as an advantage, not a disadvantage.
All right, Brad, last word. Give you the last word.
Donald Trump does not have an army behind him. He's winning so far in a popularity contest, but when the rubber hits the road, there's nothing there. He hasn't segregated money. He doesn't show us who his policy advisors are, nor does he have the organization, the battleground states, to win.
The policy
if he thinks he can
disaster.
win on his name only, or his good looks, it ain't happening.
These guys' campaigns. The last thing he needs is the policy advisors.
Oh, yeah,
they should be imitating him. They shouldn't be.
No.
He shouldn't be imitating them. He's crushing them in the polls, and it's because he's talking about something that the American people are responding to, and why other Republicans will not pick this up is the true baffling question.
All right, Brad, I got to go. I'm sorry. I tried to give you the last word. Okay. It's a great debate, though. And, Brad, thank you very much.